Updog.
Updog. Updog.
Updog Sports Talk.
Hello, and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. My name is Matt Miller. Joined with me is Justin McGovern. What's going on, Justin?
Doing good. Getting excited as we continue to go through our NFL preview series here. It just feels like the season is so close, ready for it to get underway. But we got to dive into the AFC South first. Let's go ahead and kick us off here with the Tennessee Titans, the team whose jersey I'm wearing here.
First off, I would just like to point out that Derrick Henry is so tall that his head does not fit on our recording.
It didn't fit in the picture. Like he is just like, this is such a big man, and like, how in the world do you get the guy is like literally 7 foot and like 400 pounds, but runs a 4.4. He's easily the most ridiculous running back the Titans have ever had, even better than the one on this jersey, Eddie George. He's just a monster of man. Obviously, every single Titans conversation starts with him, but we do have more to talk about when it comes to the Titans. Matt, how about some key additions they've had this offseason, and one in particular?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They did lose Corey Davis. Who'd they get? They got another receiver. Who'd they end up getting?
Goodness, man. What? Julio Jones!
I wanted to set you up to say it. You're wearing the Titans jersey. Julio.
Yeah, who's the Julio Jones guy? Tell us about him, Matt. Pretty decent at that.
This like Johnny O. Jones is his name, I think. No, I'm playing. Julio moving over to Tennessee. Actually involved in a legal battle, but we actually won't go too deep into that. So could be a distraction, but I mean, really, if you have another guy, in case something happens with that, they have a few other guys that can just literally line up, and then they don't even have to throw to him. Like Ryan Tannehill, I actually really like him in Tennessee. I was skeptical on it at first because I was like, okay, well, whatever. Like Adam Gase ruined his career in Miami, and then he goes to Tennessee, and I was like, this is back when we weren't 100% sure Derrick Henry would continue what he's doing. So like I've always said, a healthy Ryan Tannehill is better than Andy Dalton. A lot of people laughed at me. Where are you at now?
Definitely. Ryan Tannehill, his improvement ever since getting under the Adam Gase umbrella is impressive. He is truly proven to be a pretty good quarterback. Like,
not bad for a college wide receiver, huh?
I know, it's crazy. Like, and he can get them to the Super Bowl. He's a quarterback that's good enough to do that. He's not going to get them there by himself, but he is definitely more than capable of leading this team.
He is a great compliment. He's a great compliment to Derrick Henry.
Yes. And that receiving core, we haven't mentioned A.J. Brown yet.
I know.
A.J. Brown has been the beast in his own right. They just added Josh Reynolds this offseason too.
That's who it was. That's who else I was thinking of. I couldn't remember his name. He came from the Rams. I should know that.
Taylor Lewan is back from injury. That'll be huge for the offense.
Yeah, that's big.
The defense, they definitely entered the offseason with a goal of trying to figure out some sort of pass rush, because that was really their biggest weakness last year. Was they couldn't get to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then the conference with Patrick Mahomes, you have to be able to put pressure on him. We saw in the Super Bowl, that's how you beat the Chiefs. And I don't know the Titans did enough to address that pass rush. They did add Bud Dupree. That was their one big signing this offseason. He will definitely get up to the quarterback, but I just don't know if he has enough guys up front to take.
I mean, he's an upgrade over Jadeveon Clowney, because Clowney, when he was there, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, Clowney is a little bit quieter. So I know he didn't put up the stats, but Clowney's more of a run defender. He's impactful against the run, but yeah, he does not do much in terms of a pass rush.
But Titans, I mean, they're always contenders, but I have them as like a tier 2 contender where like they can sneak in, but I don't think they can get past the Chiefs. I really don't.
It's a tough task, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think it's like Chiefs and then like way down here is the Titans in terms of like 1-2. I think there's a big gap between the competition at the top.
But the weapons they do have in the offense does give them a chance against pretty much everybody. If the Chiefs don't have their best day, they even have a chance against them.
Yeah, that's true. Who we got next?
But up next, we have a team that's pretty much rebranded this offseason, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you may be wondering, who the hell is that guy in this picture? That is Urban Meyer in the Madden game. Before we actually dive in and do some productive analysis here on the Jaguars, does this look like Urban Meyer at all?
No, it actually kind of looks like Ben Stiller.
It really does. It actually looks closer to Ben Stiller than Urban Meyer. If this is what we're getting in the Madden game, then obviously it's not worth buying. I don't even know what's out yet.
I'm just going to wait for 2K to come in like 100 years. So when I'm in a nursing home, 2K will come out with a football game.
Oh, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll definitely have some battles against each other. But yeah, so Urban Meyer is on the Jaguars. That definitely was a huge change this offseason. A bold coaching hire. Got to give it to the Jaguars for going outside the box here with this one. College coaches have failed in the past, but this one could be different. We'll have to see. We do know they're off to a great start. Number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, is in here. He gets his former college teammate running back, and Travis Etienne, even though it seems like Urban Meyer forgot that they already had a good running back on the roster. This offense looks like it's got some weapons, Matt.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Urban Meyer hiring right away. I had to sit down and really think about it, and then I was like, you know what? Yeah, Urban Meyer's been out of the game for a little bit, but he hasn't lost any of that knowledge. He won't be there for a long time like Sean McVay or Brandon Staley or anybody else, but he will probably take this team back to what they were when in like 97. Mm-hmm. And then when they signed Tim Tebow, I was like, oh gosh, here we go. He's just gonna load up with all his college recruits. Watching Tim Tebow blow a block and then get cut, it was great. Not saying that I hate Tebow or anything. It's just like there was a rumor going around that he was going to still stay on the team despite that bad of a block. And it seems like Urban Meyer's not playing favorites. He will go with the best guys.
Yeah. That is the message he sent there with cutting Tebow pretty quickly.
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence is going to start for day one.
Yeah, but absolutely. There's no question. Minshew is over with. Unfortunately, he has a one.
I don't think Minshew Mania is done. I think it's just done in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he'll reemerge somewhere. Probably go around the Ryan Fitzmagic kind of.
Yeah, I could see that, but I mean, I'm rooting for Gardner Minshew, but I mean, like I've been a Trevor Lawrence fan since his first start, so like I like Trevor Lawrence. I like ETN. Like I love that offense. Who's their other running back that was already there?
James Robinson.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like how the Bengals had like Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard. I think it's gonna end up being like that, and I think ETN's gonna be involved more in the pass game.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. ETN definitely was brought in to help with the passing game, catch screens and stuff out of the backfield, be a little bit of an out for Lawrence, an out that Lawrence is comfortable with too.
Yeah.
They've worked a little bit on the offensive line too, which is going to help. And definitely, I know you're questioning the Urban Meyer hire at first. And at first, it kind of was a little bit weird, but I think one point that was mentioned is that while Urban Meyer hasn't stayed anywhere for a long time, He's left. He's left it a lot better off.
Yeah.
And that'll be a big key.
And it seems like even like going up the ladder above Urban Meyer, it seems like they're doing a great job just keeping the interest back like in the Jaguars. Like they're building developments all around the stadium. Like they're not messing around with this. They have like a whole like luxury suite with like a pool right on the field kind of thing. Like they went hard to make sure that their fans actually show up, because I know they don't want to move to London, but like they're on an upward trajectory pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean this offseason is the most that we've heard about the Jaguars pretty much ever.
Yeah.
But let's move on to a team that has been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The Houston Texans. What a mess of an offseason this has been.
Yeah, terrible.
We thought it couldn't get much worse than having Billy O'Stooge there. Turns out that the butt chin was not the problem. They have just problems from top to bottom in the organization. Management's disorganized. Deshaun Watson's in a ton of trouble that we're not going to dive into here, even though it appears that, if true, Watson is a complete scumbag.
Yeah.
But yeah, this I believe this is their head coach now. I didn't even know what he looked like.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, when they when everything came out with Watson, I was like, ooh, that is not going to be pretty. If it turns out by some miracle that he did not do that, and it's just one of those like, I'm going after this guy kind of thing, I think that the Texans long term will be okay. But right now, he looks like the biggest scumbag on earth. Like,
yeah,
like I hesitated even talking about the Texans, because it's like one of those fine lines. Like you can get kicked off social media and everything. Pretty.
It is really tough to not get in this situation, not just want to bury the guy.
Yeah, I don't want to bury him, but if we stick to an actual just football conversation and leave that whole thing off of it, because we don't want to get involved in any of that. What we are focused on is just the football aspect. If Deshaun Watson plays this entire season, it's literally gonna be like Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson, but with a worse defense.
And worse offensive line and worse receivers.
Yeah, but I mean, Deshaun Watson is so good that he can actually bring them to the playoffs, especially in this division. Like you have the Titans, who are Super Bowl contenders, or maybe not win the division, but contend in the division. Jaguars, as much as we just praise them, they were still really bad last year to get a number 1 overall pick. So we can't just all of a sudden say they're going to win 10 games or anything like that. Like, as of right now, I don't think the Jaguars are going to be like contending in this division. But with Deshaun Watson on the Texans, he can actually bring them to like a wild card contention.
Yeah,
that's how good he is. But
I'm not sure with the talent around him that he can even do that this year. I do have to say, if he is on the team, that is worth at least 3 more wins, and they will be more competitive in the losses.
I'd say more than 3 more wins. I do think that without him, they are pushing 1 win at best.
Well, I mean, like, we didn't even get around to like burying this guy yet. So their new head coach, David Culley, this guy is not even a good coach. Like, when Josh Allen was in his first year in the NFL and had a barely above 50% completion percentage, that was his quarterback's coach, and he got canned as quarterback's coach. He went over to Baltimore, has not improved Lamar Jackson's passing ability at all. I mean, like, I don't even know where this hire came from. Like, I don't know if they just like brought this guy in to be the fall guy or what.
I think it was one of those things.
A good quarterback's coach.
It's one of those things like they didn't want to bring in, like, I know John Gruden's in Vegas, but like they didn't want to bring in like a John Gruden or an Urban Meyer or anyone like that, because they knew that they didn't have a team. without Deshaun Watson, they're going to be a 1-win team, even if you have Bill Belichick there. So like they didn't want to just bring in some guy, pay him a bunch of money, and just be like, hey, we're going to just ruin you. So they wanted this guy to come in and like maybe Deshaun Watson can teach him something about being a good passer,
not.
but
I'll be surprised if this guy makes his coach for like one or beyond this year or like 2 years. 2 years is probably the longest I see him going.
yeah, they might hang on to him after this year just to be like, well, we don't want to get into the Browns cycle of hiring a coach and then firing him immediately after.
They somehow managed to be a team that didn't have a good offensive line, didn't have a defense, doesn't have draft picks, doesn't have cap room. I mean, they somehow managed to do all of that.
Yeah, they're paying more players off their books than they are on their books.
And I mean, they really, for some reason, they signed a bunch of running backs this offseason. Like they have Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram to add into a backfield that's pretty crowded and not going to have any room to run because the offensive line stinks.
Mm-hmm.
They have Brandon Cooks and nobody else a receiver. They just
is Will Fuller still there?
No, Will Fuller.
Yeah, he left.
Yeah, he's gone. They couldn't afford him because they had no cap space again. The defense has really nobody of note.
They have Cunningham, Zach Cunningham.
Yeah, they have Cunningham. That's it.
Yeah.
there's really, they have like a few running backs, some of them beyond their prime, and that's about it. And yeah, this team.
I wonder if they'll take a chance on Todd Gurley.
What, add a fourth running back into that crowded room already?
Why not? You can do whatever you want. Your team sucks.
Yeah, having all these running backs is great, but doesn't help when they don't have anywhere to go. Anyways, moving on to a team that is a little bit better. How about the Indianapolis Colts? For one, this has been a rough offseason. So
very, very roller coaster-esque.
Yeah, because immediately a few weeks in the camp, and already their starting quarterback that they just acquired is hurt. Their best offensive lineman, probably the best guard in the NFL, also hurt with a very similar foot injury.
However, it does seem like they can potentially be back for the season opener, but they're not going to do that. They're going to push it off a few weeks to just not rush either of them into anything. I'm waiting to hear if there's a setback or anything with one of them, because that would kind of push this whole, like, it would derail this whole season for them.
Yes.
But if they can get them back pretty quickly, there's no excuse for them to not get a wild card appearance.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously the Carson Wentz experiment will be interesting. Not to a good start with the injury, but he has the talent and all the tools to succeed. It's just a hope of hopefully the Eagles didn't break him, because I mean, he looked good. He really looked good himself all but 1 year. One of the other years that he played well was completely buried because the rest of the team was hurt. Now he's got a good run. He's got two good running backs, a good offensive line, pretty decent receiving core in front of him, and a pretty good defense around him. Like this,
very good defense. They were
this team
number one for most of the season.
Yeah.
And they just paid Darius Leonard, who's coming back off injury. So the team looks to be good when healthy, but they just got dealt a really shit hand.
Yeah. Yeah, that was tough, but they got out of the way in preseason, hopefully. Come the regular season, they can stay healthy, because this does look like a pretty good team. They haven't done many like big moves, like, you know, none of the headline grabbers like the Titans getting Julio Jones or anything like that. But they are just kind of built from within, and then every once in a while they see a guy, they get a guy. And that was the situation with Carson Wentz, where they thought that he could possibly be a guy for them. And
I mean, worst case scenario, if he's out for a while, then you just talk Phillip Rivers out of retirement. He already said he's willing to come back.
Phillip Rivers had to put down that clipboard in Alabama, wherever he's coaching these days, and get on back up there.
Since we're on the Indianapolis Colts, how about Peyton Manning getting inducted into the Hall of Fame and being limited to 8 minutes?
I know. How in the world? Okay, we're going to keep Peyton Manning 8 minutes. Like, His speech was still amazing, being held only 8 minutes, but still.
I thought it was hilarious that Tom Brady got booed for like a whole minute of that speech.
It is hilarious, but expected because
They were rivals.
Yeah, most of the people in that were there for the Hall of Fame were either Colts or Steelers fans. So Tom Brady's been haunting both of them for most of his career.
Yeah. Where do you think this division is gonna land in terms of the standings?
All right. So I think the division winner will be the Tennessee Titans. I think the Titans take the division. The Colts will come in second. Both those teams are playoff contenders. Jaguars will improve this year. They will be third. Texans, a very far away fourth. They will be the worst team in this division, probably the worst team in the NFL. Texans are trash. Matt, what do you got the order being?
I actually have the same order, but I will put an asterisk next to the Colts. If they don't get Quentin Nelson and Carson Wentz back pretty quickly, I might move them to third and actually have the Jaguars jumping them. I don't think I think if Carson Wentz and Nelson are going to be out for a little bit, I think it's going to be a very uncompetitive division. I think the Titans are just going to roll through it, which will be bad for the Titans because then they'll not be used to actually playing some competition. They'll be used to just blowing people out. But Texans, dead last, fighting for most likely Spencer Rattler, which I really don't think is that good, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what even fixing a quarterback position can do at this point because the team just has holes all around the roster, more holes than anyone in the NFL.
Maybe they can trade Deshaun Watson for like the third overall pick also. Get a tackle.
That's what they were hoping to do for a little bit. And
no, they should wait till the day before the draft, trade Deshaun Watson for the third overall pick, and then get like a really good left tackle to go with Spencer Rattler, and then just be mediocre the rest of his career.
Yeah, well, that will depend on how the allegations shake out. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that is the show. You got anything else, Justin?
No, I want to dive back into those again before we bury Watson or the Texans even more than we already have. For the sake of any possible Texans fans watching, we probably should just end the show now.
Yep. See you guys.
Have a good one, everybody.